Never has there been an opening like this in the entertainment industry. This week, Grand Theft Auto 5 pulled in $1 billion in sales in 3 days. No movie or music release has ever come close to that. And as with earlier versions of the game, it is extremely violent. Here's Ayk Iano.
It was 2013 when GTA 5 trended worldwide and became the best-selling action-adventure video game in 24 hours. The fastest entertainment property and video game to gross $1 billion, the highest-grossing video game in 24 hours, and earned the highest revenue generated by any entertainment product in 24 hours. But behind this record-breaking success, Grand Theft Auto has always been surrounded by squinted eyes, not just from the conservative gaming public, but especially from politicians, legislators, activists, and some angry parents who just can't read the M rating attached to it.
Pick up prostitutes and kill them and collect their money. I don't know if that sends the most family-friendly message.
Now, what's the deal with Grand Theft Auto? What garners it shrouds and shrouds of controversy and disgust from the mainstream media? Call of Duty doesn't reach this level of attention and disdain when it's also a game about shooting people. And both of these games are well-established franchises with the most passionate and die-hard communities patronizing them. And both deal with guns and killing and swearing and oh wait.
You can't just beat up cops and, beat up women. When you turn on the people that are in theory to protect you, the whole game turns in on you.
Well, Grand Theft Auto stands apart from other action-adventure video games of its kind for this one fact alone. Its fascination and faithful, albeit hyperbolic representation of both contemporary and historical American society. Open-world games do exist in a similar vein. We've got Sleeping Dogs, a crime action open-world game putting you in the shoes of a cop as he goes undercover for the dissolution of one of the biggest triad families in Hong Kong. And on the other, we have Saints Row, also an open-world game with pure over-the-top humor that enjoys referencing pop culture in its entirety and never shies away in parting shots at video game culture in general. Now, these two franchises are extremely comparable with Grand Theft Auto, not just mechanically but also narratively at the same time. But somehow, only Grand Theft Auto manages to provoke the attention of the public in such a way that it very much invokes some kind of disciplinary action on a legislative level. Whenever there's news of Grand Theft Auto, it then becomes a global phenomenon.
Naomi Barnett bought it for herself. She's not put off by the game's depiction of women, often as prostitutes or strippers.
I think it's just a game to have fun with, just to play, and that's it. For me, at least, it is.
Grand Theft Auto 5 has made twice as much as the last Harry Potter movie did in its opening weekend. That film holds the record for the best box office opening ever.
Tracing back to its top-down roots in the late 90s up until the 3D era starting with GTA 3, Rockstar's curious interpretation of real-world America has caused the game to inherit qualities that's atypical of what a video game usually offers. It has radio stations that contain in-game figures, which part shots at real-life celebrities.
I'm your very entertaining host, Maurice Chavez, a man climbing the broadcasting ladder at a rate of 6 knots. 6 years ago, I was a clown, and now I'm a success.
Commercials that not only parody specific patronization of Western products, but also highlight an obsessive and almost deranged recognition for consumerism.
I'm hungry for something different. flavor.
I was always eating fudge, but I wanted to snack on something else.
The front is white and pure. The back is dark and naughty.
What about nuts?
You'll love the nuts. Which side will you try first? Zebra Bar. It satisfies your exotic cravings, whatever they are. Put it in your mouth.
Scattered around the map are fictional establishments, which bear uncanny resemblance to actual real-life firms and companies, and are usually interpreted with heavy innuendos and sexual imagery. Add to that a kind of narrative which, since GTA 3, had always been explicit and confident in showing its inspirational roots from classic films.
GTA 3, for instance, was based on Goodfellas,
Vice City inspired by Scarface, Curtis Way, and Miami Vice, San Andreas by Menace to Society, GTA 4 by Snatch, and GTA 5 by the film Heat with Robert De Niro uncannily personified in Michael. All of these, the adherence to film principles, the snark, sardonic, and deeply cynical take on contemporary commercialism, marketing, fandom, politics, even social media, along with an ensemble cast of characters that individually represent cultural ideologies present during whatever time period they're being invoked in, all converge together, and out comes not just a fantasized fictional rendition of reality, but an exaggerated approximation of the modern West that acts more as a mirror than a homage. A mirror that presents modern West's cultural contours, be it healthy or ill, into recognizable patterns that are explicitly perceivable by those who interact with the game. And this is where the controversy comes into play. Because of this accelerated depiction of modern America and coming from a European lens from the Hauser brothers, a lot of questionable and offensive themes do stand out. Add to that, we have a parallel setting which loves to lampoon in extreme detail real-world America. And now we've got a game that's not only reprehensible for its themes alone, but for their inclusion inside an overtly familiar location that, even though it's not exactly representing actual Los Angeles or New York per se, the direct, illustrative references and obvious pokes at them is sure to get the ire of the uninformed public. That's not to say, though, that other video games do not also inherit these. Almost all modern games are sure to contain messages commentating on current society and other philosophical issues that need addressing, but because those games are set in worlds that are so abstracted by fantastical, science fiction-y and surrealistic themes, that sense of naughtiness and taboo isn't as heavily or as dangerously perceived as one might in a GTA game. There's a big difference between being tasked to kill aliens in space or killing robots versus being set on a mission where you're just supposed to go after a funny-looking guy who just keeps bothering you and your cousin, chasing him along a speeding highway with pedestrian cars careening out of your way, and then kill him using a broken bottle or a shot in the head. However, it's exactly this crudely familiar nature of the GTA games that's making the points buried underneath them very compelling and, weirdly enough, effective. It's when you only understand that these games are supposed to act as reflective pieces of commentary on modern society that the sharp, satirical teeth of Rockstar begins to communicate with full conviction and intent for the player to be made more aware of what they're trying to do. Because ultimately, my opinion in this matter is that Rockstar just wants to rekindle our awareness, not just on Western civilization, but on our own inherent human nature.
because I'm too scared of getting fat to get pregnant. Everything! Well, fuck you! And I don't care that we just met last week, all right? Just stop looking at me. Don't look at me. Say something! Oh, I wish you were dead. I really do.
Oh, I love you!
I would like to emphasize though that this is my own interpretation. A personal epiphany while playing the game since GTA 3, my personal favorite Vice City, San Andreas, Liberty City Stories, Vice City Stories, Chinatown, a masterfully created but flawed GTA 4, and for me the best one, GTA 5. These games I've spent time with, not exactly living out carnivorous fantasies of digital homicide and killing sprees, but adhering to the programmed rules and logic of their world while contextualizing them to the actual material they're referencing, reality itself. And what do I got?
I don't have time to run more errands, Cortez.
I would have thought a man with such dangerous dates would be hungry for opportunities. Please, Tommy, at least hear me out.
Well, my musical cuisine expanded exponentially due to the well-realized eras that they've decided to set their games on, which feature licensed music that perfectly captures the time period. I fell in love with hard rock, listening to Iron Maiden's 2 Minutes to Midnight and Dio's Heaven and Hell. While my mom had me learn the piano as a 7-year-old, listening to Waiting for a Girl Like You by Foreigner opened my ears to the beauty and wonder of bass, especially this bass line. I knew musical legends such as Hart, Stevie Nicks, Eddie Money, the list goes on and on. I could ramble all day just on this topic alone, so I'd better stop now and get back to topic. Besides the music though, the exaggerated characteristics of the different eras gave me an easy shorthand on what those eras felt like without having to actually live through them myself. I also came to know the nature of the franchise, the people that govern its development, the mechanical systems that make this piece of software work. My love for computers and software coding, which later became a college course and paved the way for my professional career, was hugely fueled by hours and hours of modding the GTA games on PC. I've come to appreciate the artistry that goes in and beyond the confines of it just being a simple video game. And these questions I was able to ponder on. Why did CJ have to follow that damn train? Why should Nico be constantly bothered by his cousin Roman for bowling? Why does GTA 4 always have to be drenched in this ugly, desaturated brown? Now these questions seem trivial at best upon first glance, but surely, as soon as time gets you thinking about the question of why, along with having the proper perspective in looking through Rockstar's lenses, Grand Theft Auto's naughtiness will start to make perfect sense. But what if you're bothered by its excessive violence? It isn't like we're having much of a choice when playing missions, right? Isn't that a definite indicator for the endorsement of immoral activities? Well,
the video games, the movies, the internet stuff is so violent. It's so incredible. I see it. I get to see things that you'd be amazed at. I have a very young son who I look at some of the things he's watching and I say, how is that possible?
My answer to that would be Grand Theft Auto is an open world game, not a linear one. There are no authorial hands that prevent you from doing what you prefer to do. You decide what to engage and what to consume. Finding that specific mission too vile and disgusting, or maybe you're just anxious on whether your parents might pass by your screen while that specific scene plays out, well, just don't do it. Just go exist in their world. Go cruise along the highway, take a hike, Roleplay as you would as if you're living inside of it. There's a reason why these games were set in an open world environment. Do side activities, use your camera and take pictures of stuff like what, people would do. Wait for the sunset and your favorite music to coalesce into the most perfect gaming bliss ever. There's a handcrafted system here that's being run by interlocking calculations, brilliantly programmed by talented people. And this results in a game experience that never really repeats itself. At times, it surprises you with pure serendipitous moments of emergent gameplay that's still unrivaled until today, even 7 years after the last game. Maybe with the exception of Red Dead Redemption 2, but that is an entirely different Godzilla of its own. Could be a future video perhaps.
Playing a video game where you kill somebody is different than actually killing somebody.
Fortner calls Grand Theft Auto 5, no matter how violent and graphic, just another art form.
An artist is making a video game. An artist makes a painting a kid might not like. But should the kid not be able to walk into a museum and look at that piece of art?
Thank you all for watching till the end. I was gone for over 4 years since my last legit game analysis video, and I think I'm back. I'm still sorting out all of my equipment, but I've already compiled some content for future videos. Please feel free to suggest what you'd like me to discuss. It can be anything entertainment related, not just video games. Once again, thanks for watching. Like this video if you liked it, dislike if not. Share your constructive thoughts about this. Don't be rude, let's have a friendly discourse. And please subscribe. Stay safe, social distance, have a very wonderful Christmas, and God bless everyone.